Chiara Lubich, Apostle of Dialogue. 25 years have passed since Chiara Lubich was awarded an honorary degree in sacred theology by the University of Santo Tomas. Gio Francisco gives us a first-hand account of the commemorative event, explaining its impact and relevance in our society today. On an early morning Sunday, crowds were heading towards the medicine building of the University of Santo Tomas, UST, in Manila, where tarpaulins all over the campus offered unmistakable information. March 12, 2023, was the date chosen to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the conferment of an honorary doctorate in sacred theology to the servant of God, Chiara Lubich, the first woman and lay person to be bestowed such an honor in the more than 400 years of the university upon the unanimous endorsement of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, CBCP. The date was just a few days before her 15th death anniversary, March 14, while on December 7 this year, the Focolare movement will be celebrating its 80th founding anniversary. Entering the campus, I could not help but notice how everyone was dressed up for the occasion and the exciting tone that accompanied people's greetings when someone recognizes a friend from afar. Kumusta? How are you? Was not just a typical conversation starter. It was a genuine query among friends after not having seen one another for quite some time due to the pandemic. If one didn't understand why all these people came here, an outsider might probably think we're gathered for a family reunion. Looking back, for someone who was just a few months old at the time and did not witness that historic moment, watching the full video of the 1997 event released by the university just days before the event helped set the tone. The early part of the video gives the impression that the honorary degree was to be awarded to some kind of political celebrity. In fact, Chiara was accompanied by an entourage, including representatives from the center of the Focolare movement, the rector, and the university professors in academic gowns or togas, and beside them, some security personnel dressed like the King's Guard at Buckingham Palace. People held and waved flaglets of the movement's Mariapolis towns, the yellow four-pointed star on a blue background, to cheerfully greet her as she made her way from the university's main building to the medicine auditorium. Intentionally, the same venue for the occasion last March 12. As a marching band lively welcomed her outside, a full orchestra played as she received a standing ovation as she entered the same hall. The auditorium was packed with university officials and faculty members and bishops of the Catholic Church, including the late Archbishop of Manila, Jaime Cardinal Sin, and then Apostolic Nuncio to the Philippines, Archbishop John Vincencio Moreni, as well as the leaders of various Christian churches and world religions. More than 25 years later, I felt a comparable or similar climate when I peeked from behind the curtain as I met. More than 25 years later, I felt a comparable or similar climate when I peeked from behind the curtain as I met and eventually greeted officials from UST, Archbishops Charles John Brown, the current Apostolic Nuncio to the Philippines, with some representatives of the CBCP, as well as leaders and representatives of various Christian churches and world religions, such as Most Reverend Ri Timbang, Supreme Bishop of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente, Aglipayan Church, and Most Reverend James Benedict Saldivar, the Metropolitan Primate of the Holy Orthodox Catholic Apostolic Church of Jesus Christ, among many others. An example for our times. UST was an instrument by the Holy Spirit to set a model for our young students to experience, in a special way, how the love of Jesus grows 100-fold globally through the charism of unity in the life and work of the servant of God, Chiara Lubich. These were the opening words of UST Rector Father Richard Ang, OP, whose message was read by Father Pablo Tiong, OP, Vice Rector for Religious Affairs. For the Rector Magnificus, Chiara's dedication to living the words of the Gospel, her promotion of a culture of encounter, and her love for the Church are worthy of praise and emulation. Through a video message, Miss Margaret Karam, the second successor of Chiara as president of the Focolare movement, also shared how she, at the age of 14 in her hometown, Haifa, in Israel, was attracted to a group of young people who lived the gospel seriously. Expressing her gratitude for the occasion, she reminded everyone that this celebration is not only an occasion to remember an event of the past, but is also an opportunity for us to once again make Chiara's choice of God and her commitment our own, to spread the light of the charism of unity to every corner of the earth. Teatro ng Pag-asa creatively presented Chiara's story from her early days as a primary school teacher to her discovery and choice of Jesus as her teacher. The artistic choreography ended with the song Stars and Tears, a touching musical narration of the night during World War II, when Chiara's family spent the night out in the open just before leaving the city for safety. That fateful night, Chiara made the painful decision of remaining in the city of Trent, where people were enduring much suffering, convinced that love will win over everything. To bring a touch of nostalgia to the celebration, the keynote address was given by none other than Father Rolando de la Rosa, OP, UST Rector at the time of the Conferment. He started off by telling an episode that he loves to recount to members of the Focolare. His first and only meeting with Chiara, which happened on the day of the Conferment. According to him, he noticed that Chiara was sweating profusely as they were making their way to the auditorium. So he offered his handkerchief, which was clean, with a dash of cologne. Chiara wiped her face with this and kept it in her pocket. Then a Focolarina came rushing towards Chiara and offered her another handkerchief made of just juicy fabric, made in plain weave from silk and hemp fibers, which she also used and then gave it to Father de la Rosa. Since then, he has kept this handkerchief, a memento of Chiara, in the conferment to her of the Honoris Causa degree. Later, noting the decrease in vocations among priests and men and women religious, the former rector pointed out that today, in pursuing its mission, the Church must show not only a preferential option for the laity, but also preferential reliance on their charism and initiative. He exhorted the followers of Chiara not to be bystanders anymore, but to be upstanders, people who stand up for a cause and help in realizing synodality in the Church. After a video showing Chiara's contribution to the advancement of dialogue among world religions, came the video message of Dr. Vino Aram, the director of the Gandhi-inspired Shanti Ashram, expressing her deep admiration for Chiara's prophetic voice and exemplary life that is responsive to the needs of people and able to live what one believes in. Later, an action song was presented by the Gen 4, the children of the Focolare movement. Experiences were also shared on how the art of loving a practical expression of Chiara's charism of unity, remains a relevant guide in people's lives today. It nurtures relationships in the family, brings about conversion in those who have committed wrongdoings, and becomes an amplifying element in the practice of one's profession. Miss Sherilyn Donnie Meneses and Father Andrew Camilleri, co-delegates of the Focolare movement in the Indian subcontinent and the Philippine zone, also addressed the crowd, emphasizing that the light given to Chiara extends beyond the boundaries of the movement, with high hopes that through the various events lined up for the rest of the year, many may have the chance to discover new inspiration for their life and work, so that together we may continue the legacy of Chiara of being people of dialogue. They stress that dialogue is the path to achieving genuine universal brotherhood, and that everyone can also be an apostle of dialogue, like Chiara when they leave the art of loving. Towards the end of the program, Most Reverend Pablo Virgilio David, President of the CBCP and Bishop of Caloocan, greeted everyone through a video message. On behalf of the CBCP, Bishop Ambo expressed appreciation for those behind the commemorative event. One of the things I fervently pray for is the speedy advancement of the cause for the beatification and eventual canonization of Chiara Lubich. The manner in which this woman's holy life has impacted the world, including the Philippines, through the Focolare movement, is something I can personally attest to, he revealed. Archbishop Charles John Brown, Apostolic Nuncio to the Philippines, presided over the Eucharistic celebration along with several bishops and priests. In his homily, the representative of the Holy Father helped everyone reflect on the Gospel reading for that day and on the silver anniversary of the Honoris Causa Conferment to Chiara. Referring to the Gospel story where Jesus engages in dialogue with the Samaritan woman, he encouraged everyone to imitate this style of dialogue, not to wait, but to reach out. As the Mass was going on, a moment of encounter was also being held for guests of various Christian denominations and world religions. Then, the celebration changes venue. From the Medicine Auditorium, we proceeded to the practice gym for the Barrio Fiesta, Village Feast, where everyone shared lunch, played games in different booths, danced together, and enjoyed the presence of each one. It was really a feast of the family. Throughout the day, I could not help but feel how Chiara is held in high esteem by people from different walks of life. Truly, she is an apostle of dialogue, as the late St. John Paul II referred to her and the rest of the Focolare movement, the same words used for the title of the commemorative event. In my conversations with those who attended, I felt a renewed enthusiasm in them, as well as in me, to continue the work of Chiara, certain that the grace of God will bring us ahead in the fulfillment of Jesus' prayer, that all may be one. John 17:21. Giancarlo Francisco.